Hello everyone, my name is Cantu. I'm here to kind of just teach you a little bit about Adobe Audition. Even if you need a little quick refresher, this is how I edit my podcast. So quickly, you want to open up Adobe Audition, then you want to go to File, Import your recorded podcast, whether it had been on Zoom or whatnot. So here's what mine looked like. It gives you the option of either taking the video from Zoom or the audio only. So obviously, I'm just going to do the audio only. So it's gonna import in, and obviously it's gonna take a couple seconds because it's like a larger file. If your 30-minute hour show, it's gonna pop up here no matter what. Then you're gonna click new, right click, and then new multi-track session. That's one way to get it. You can also go to file, new, and then multi-track session, and it's gonna pop up a little new multi-track session pop-up window, and then just gonna name it whatever. So I'll just do podcast test. And then you're going to say okay. So once you have this is a multi-track. I like to edit obviously in this, makes things easier. Then you have your audio here. You're going to click top left, click and drag over your audio to track 1. So it's going to take a few seconds. While I do that, I also know I want like some sort of like music in there. So you can also import the same folder. You can find this online. As long as it's copyright free, so I just use this copyright free hip hop music. That's also something that I like to add. And then you can also drag this over. Oh, it's not dragging yet. You can drag that over to another track. So obviously it's gonna look like this. So when I record, I kind of make a mental note of like where things are at, so I don't have to like re-listen to the whole podcast that I recorded and did. So I know there's certain points. So say if I have a break at like the 30-minute mark, say this is my break here. So there's a few ways you can cut audio, and this is very important when it comes to editing. First, you go to the top left. There's a razor. Select clips tool. You want to click on this. Razor allows you to split the audio. So I just cut the audio. And say I took a break from where the marker is to here. So I know that is that. So I just like to line it up with the red marker, and then I click again and it cuts it. Then you're going to go back to the select tool, and then you're going to select the clip I just cut together, and then you're going to press your delete key. Also, hotkeys for the razor tool is R. So if you just press R on your keyboard, it'll bring up. If you press V on your keyboard, that's the move tool hotkey. So that's just quicker ways you try to save time. So that's how you cut audio, and that's very important of just trying to cut out any unnecessary things. Maybe you had an extra breath that you want to cut out, shorten it. Maybe there's a long pause and you want to cut that. That's for when that happens. Obviously, if you have that, and if it's like a pause you want to get out, all you want to do is right click, hit ripple, delete, and then close gap, and it's going to close the gap for you. You can also just close it by dragging and moving, but obviously to save time, right click, ripple, delete, then gap, boom. You have that. Also, if you have any mistake, Command Z, hold Command Z if you're on Mac. That's very helpful, and that kind of resets things. And as far as like just cutting and stuff like that, that's your most important tool. So say I know at the beginning, like I don't start my clip until like here, and you're like talking before, and you're setting up your show with your co-host. You can just say this is where you start. I usually like a countdown, like 3, 2, 1, and then you do your intro. So say I do 3, 2, 1 in my recording, and I know this is where I start to do my intro. I just like, you can click and drag and use that red kind of cursor as your alignment. And it's kind of like a magnet, and it just connects to it. That allows it to just make an easy cut and transition. You get rid of the audio before. So that's another way of cutting and editing out clips. And that's basically the most important thing when it comes to editing these podcasts, is just cutting out unnecessary stuff, things you don't want your listeners to have in your final product. So aside from cutting, which is very important, the next big thing is obviously, so say I have this music, and I'm just going to use this as an example. So I have this music, and I want to have as I intro the show. Sorry, I don't know why that moved up top. So say I want to intro the show and have this music playing in the background. The most important thing with doing this is making sure that you have balanced levels. So the level bar is below on the bottom of your screen. The level shows. So if I play this, obviously you're gonna see it's gonna peak up. So I like to keep mine. So you see it peak up between the -6 and -9 range. -12 as well. Never want to go below -15. It's hard for the audience to hear. So if you hear that, you just want to come here, and I like to put my tracks, my audios on different tracks because you can adjust quickly the decibel ranges and the audio gain here on the track channel. So I know when I play this music, I'm just gonna mute this for right now so I can just have the music, and there's a mute button there. When I play this music, I know that it's going to be severely loud. You can see it peaking on the levels. So when I play the music, I see it's peaking around between -6, -9, -6, which is perfect, but I want to bring it down a little bit because, again, it's background music. That's priority for your talking. You want to have between -12 and -6. So I think that's perfect, having it around the -18, -15, around that range to have for background music. So I know that this is what music I want. Obviously, you don't need the full thing to play, so you're just going to cut it all the way down. And then from here on, you can just choose how long you want the music to play, and this is preference for whoever. So I like to have just the music play a little bit as the intro, as I say my intro in the beginning of my show. So the next big thing when it comes to editing a podcast is these fade ins and fade out, which is at the top right or top left of the audio clip. So fade in, obviously, what you want to do is it just like fades in the music. So like if you're in the station and on the 360 board, you slowly move up the handle on the panel. So that allows it to go and fade in your show. So this basically does the same thing, just but with a quick button. So you're gonna click and pull to the right, and you're gonna hold the fade in button. And the fade in button basically allows it to slowly rise up to volume, and it makes a huge difference when you're cutting this in your show. And then obviously to fade out is you're gonna hear it. This is how it sounds without it, just abruptly ends. So I'm going to do the fade out, have it not abruptly end, and you hear a big difference. So it slowly fades out, which is very important to have when you're having a show, so it just doesn't abruptly end, and it's a lot cleaner when you're editing a podcast. So that's basically the basics of editing a podcast. Obviously, we're going to have a library for you to choose from PSAs and whatnot that we usually had in the station. So always remember, if you're recording, take a break in the middle of your show, because that's very important, just to break up your show. And then if you want, again, just use the razor tool. Say this is where my break is. Boom. That's my break. And then you can press V to get your select tool. And then say if I had like the break audio, you just put it in between here on another track. And you just allow that. You can add some fade ins and fade outs. And that's basically all it takes to edit your own podcast. Most important tool is the razor, allowing you to cut and separate different clips and take out stuff you don't want. You can also using the move tool, you can also click and drag your audio clip and cut out anything unnecessary. If you have a gap in the middle after you cut, and just to save time, you can right click in the middle and then ripple delete and then hit gap and it'll close it. Obviously, if you have a break in the middle, you want to keep that open because that's technically dead air, but you have on another track another audio clip playing to help prevent that. So yeah, that's basically it. And as far as exporting, what you want to do, the way I export is file, export, multi-track mixdown, entire session, and then you just save it to wherever. You can click browse and save it to wherever, and then you can change the name up here. So I'm just going to keep it as mixdown test. Make sure you save it as an MP3 file, A .mp3 file, and the format can be changed here. If it's at a WAV, change it to an MP3. Make sure to save it to an MP3, and then click OK. It takes about a quick second. I just exit out of here, you're gonna see it's right here for me to play. So that's basically it. Then you would go on into your OneDrive and the Ready to Pause section, you would drop it into your folder section. Just to keep it, even if it's edited, it would be great for you to have that. But yeah, once you have your podcast here, you can just this is your MP3 file, and you can send it to whoever and then post it. So that's about it on editing. If you have any questions, please email me at readytopausesportspd@gmail.com. And hopefully this helps. And again, there's millions of YouTube videos that you can watch out there. I just thought, if you wanted to hear my voice try to do it and see the process of me editing, this is it. So have a good rest of your day.